Hello and welcome to another episode of UCRD Reviews. So today I have another KA Signature Robot Spirits figure to review. This is an older one. This one is the ORX-013 Gundam Mk-V Earth Federation colors, also known as the Augusta Test Colors. So this is the Gundam Mk-V. This one's from Gundam Sentinel, although these test colors were seen and I believe Gundam Online Wars video game. I don't know if that's where they actually originated, but that's where I've seen this design before. So this is in the KA Signature line, and it was released in 2014, I believe. Now they did release the blue Gundam Mk-V, the new Decides version, and that was in 2013. So this one was basically a recolor, except as you can see it comes with a new gun. So I'm really excited to take a look at it. I did actually own the original Gundam Mk-V back in 2013 when it was released, but I never owned this one. So let's take a look at what's in the box. Alright, so let's take a look at the Gundam here. So this is the Gundam Mk-V in its original rollout colors. It's got some plastic in here. So this reminds me of the ORX-013 Gundam when they released the MSIA of its original rollout colors, and it was the silver and white with red. So they did it again here with the Gundam Mk-V, and that's because it was originally an Earth Federation design, but then the new Decides forces took it and used it for their own and kind of colored it in what looked like kind of a Titan's blue. So this is again a reissue of the original figure, so you do have some good head movement there. Very interesting head design. You can see the eyes up underneath there, but from the front view they're mostly covered. I don't really understand how that works out. But you do have some waist movement. The arms have a decent range, so you see the arm joint can pull out there. And you have good hand movement, skirt armor. This skirt armor piece can actually extend and have a much greater movement range. Same with the legs. You don't have the skirt armor inhibiting anything. Feet look good. Each, they got the front toe, and then these back ones all move independently. These verniers move around. The one in here does a little bit. So overall it looks pretty good. The paint's, really nice too. I mean, it's kind of plain, but that's also what the design is. So let's actually go ahead and build it up here and put all the necessary pieces on it. To make a proper Gundam Mk-V, we need its backpack here. There's another piece of plastic on it. So the backpack, well, let's go ahead and show it first. So this is what the backpack looks like. You have the beam saber holders there. It does have two different joints that rotate around, as you can see. It also clips into the back right here, and you have the hatches for the incoms that go there, and we'll show those in a minute. So let's go ahead and attach it real quick. So it basically fits into this giant peg back here, just like that. So we have a couple other things we need to put on it real quick. So let's grab the incoms here real quick. There we go. So these are little quasi-Psychomu remote weapons, and again they fit right back here, just like that, and they're stored in the backpack. Now these are pretty neat weapons just because they allow non-new types to use all-range weapons similar to like the Zeong in the One Year War. And so they each have a beam gun at the end here, that little piece. So we're going to go ahead and close that up. We also have the beam sabers. So these are the larger kind of variety, very similar to the Double Zeta Gundam, and so they basically pop right on there. We're going to put this one on there. And then we have the missile launchers. These are 3-tube missile launchers, and there's 2 on each shoulder, and they just peg in right like so. Pretty easy to put on there. And they are hinged, so you can pose them however you like. And the beam saber racks are kind of ball jointed as well. They can swivel around all they want. So this is the Gundam Mk-V. It's pretty tall, and I'll do a quick size comparison with another Robot Spirits figure in a minute here, just to show kind of the height of it. But it fits in with the other Gundam Sentinel mobile suits because they're all kind of tall and slender. But I'm really liking the coloring. Mine kind of has a defect here. This piece is just slightly bent. I'll see if I can fix it in the future, but and it looks like this wants to be a hatch of some sort, but I don't think it actually opens up. But this is it. It's a really neat design. I know these the beam sabers can double as beam guns, so you can kind of roll them around like that, and they can fire off a beam shot, very similar to the Double Zeta Gundams. So it's pretty cool. So let's take a look at some of the accessories here that come with the Gundam Mk-V. So first things first here, we do have the hands for the Gundam Mk-V. These are your beam saber hands. You'll notice they have a peg in there, and if you noticed earlier, there is a peg hole in the Gundam Mk-V's beam saber handles. So the hands can actually peg onto the sabers to kind of hold them a little bit better, just because they're so large. So that was kind of a neat thing to include. You do have some kind of general posing hands here, and you have gun hands, because those are always important for a robot. Pretty standard. And then way down here you have a stand piece. This is an older Robot Spirits release, so they still have stand pieces. One common thing that these KA Signature figures come with is a sticker sheet. So you can place these decals on your figure to kind of make it look a little nicer. I don't usually use these, but you do get this sheet, and it has some pretty neat ones like the Augusta Laboratory or the Gundam Mk-V insignia there. So this is pretty cool that it comes with this. So moving on to the weaponry portion, we're actually going to take a look at a weapon that's underneath the tray here, and it's actually going to be the deployed Incom. If I can get it out of this baggie, there we go. And it looks like this, and it's on a flexible wire, very similar to what we got with the S Gundam. And it attaches in the same spot that the stored one goes in, so it goes right like that, and it's coming out of the back of the Gundam Mk-V. You also get 6 little relay Incoms, which are these little tiny things here. I'm going to pull a couple of them out. And again, they're very similar to what you get with the S Gundam, the XS Gundam. And so, same idea. We'll take the Mk-V here and stand them up. These just kind of go at the point at which the cable turns into a new direction, and kind of go like that. So we'll bring this down a bit here, and we'll place one right like that. And I'm not the best at doing this, but that's kind of how it looks, kind of the idea. So it's a neat little gimmick, probably not something I'll use in posing, but again, you get 2 of the Incoms that are deployed, and you get 6 of the relays. So we also have pretty standard equipment here, which is 2 very large beam saber blades. So they're pretty huge. Very similar in looks to the Double Zeta Gundams. Oddly enough, they're not called Hyper Beam Sabers. They do have kind of an ugly, I don't know if you can even see it on the camera, but there's a nub mark right about there. It's pretty noticeable. It looks like that's where they clipped it off of the runner. And so they plug right in like that, and then with the Beam Saber hands, you can actually plug them in like so, and they stay pretty firm, so it works out. So another thing we get here, move some of this out of the way, is actually a shield booster, which is this piece here. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It is both a shield and a booster. So it can fit on the back of the Gundam Mk-V with the peg, right like that. And if you can remove it from the back, it can also fit onto the arm like a standard shield. So it pegs straight in like so, and you can plug it into the bottom of the arm, and it's movable, of course, so you have a little bit of posing with it. Boy, that thing does not like to stay in the shield. You can also plug it in between the pegs with this separate piece, and this will allow you to, I'm going to do it the other way, it'll allow you to plug it in and kind of have the shield on the side of the arm. So kind of like that, which I actually like that look a little bit more. But regardless, it's a really neat piece. It reminds me of the stern boosters of the mobile suits from the Zeta Gundam era, even just post 1 Year War era. It has the cameras on it, the thruster. It doesn't look like anything else moves on it. It has the fuel canisters there, but it's a nice looking piece. Now we do have the standard Gundam Mk-V beam rifle with its really neat pointed design here. I really like that. And you have the metallic green for the cameras, and I don't know if that's a camera, I don't know what that is, but it's green, I do know that. You don't have a peg hole here for the beam saber blades to double as a beam rifle firing effect, unfortunately, and it is all a single piece, but it looks really good. It looks exactly how it's supposed to. Maybe a little bit on the bulky side, but it fits with the figure. And then lastly here is kind of the exclusive piece to this particular figure, and not released with any of the other Gundam Mk-Vs, is the, I guess this would be the prototype beam rifle, or the original rollout beam rifle, maybe the Earth Federation version. I don't know if, like, when the New Decides got the Mk-V, they gave it this rifle, but this is originally what the Earth Federation, or the Augusta Labs, was supposed to have the Gundam Mk-V with. I really don't know. But it's a neat design. It looks a little plain, almost at first glance reminds me of the Ashimar's rifle. It's not quite as blocky, but you have this odd camera scope down there. You have like a targeting camera here. You have cables. That almost looks like a selector switch for like a machine gun, but interesting looking. Really fit, it's a plain paint job, fits with the figure. So it's pretty cool that they included this. So really quickly before I finish the review, I wanted to show just how tall the Gundam Mk-V really is. So I have it, this isn't a perfect height comparison, but I have it up against the Nero trainer as well as the comparatively short GM. And you can see that, he's really tiny compared. So the Gundam Mk-V really fits in well with the Gundam Sentinel types, where they're exceptionally tall. It was kind of where mobile suits were getting bigger and bigger up until Char's counterattack, 0093, and then they started to shrink again around the Gundam F91 era. This Gundam Mk-V figure was a really surprising release. when the original blue version came out in 2013, it was already something that most people hadn't guessed would be released. And then this one came out as a recolor that was based on a more obscure coloring design, and it was an even bigger surprise. But just like the original figure, it's really nice looking. The sculpt is really good, although it was improved in the Gundam Mk-V Marking Plus version that came out in 2017, which you can look for a review of because I actually just got that figure, and I'll be doing a sculpt comparison. So the head design and the chest design, I believe, were changed. But like I said, later on we will look at the differences there. But for now, you know, this figure comes with everything it needs. It comes with both beam rifles, which was a surprise to me. I originally thought it only came with a white rifle, but it actually comes with this rifle that it's holding as well. And it has some really good articulation considering the design. And the paint, although it's pretty plain, is true to the coloring that it's supposed to be. It has this gray coloring as well as the white here, and then the beam rifle is actually a third shade of white, almost like a cream color. So it reminds me of the GM with the really bright white beam saber blade and shield outline, where the rest of it's almost a bluish hue. But everything looks really nice on it. I'm really glad I picked it up. Again, it's a KA signature figure, and it's pretty old now, so you probably have to pick it up on the secondary market. You do want to be careful, of course, of the antennas and not losing some of the relay incom pieces, but other than that, it's a neat figure, and if you have a bunch of Gundam Sentinel stuff and you want this one, definitely pick it up. And again, look for the Gundam Mk-V Marking Plus version review pretty soon here. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.